The Prodigies of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Series 23. Volume 36, August 15th, 1938. The Feast of Assumption is the most beautiful, the most sublime feast. It is the feast of the divine will operating in the Heavenly Queen. While my mind was swimming in the sea of the divine will, I stopped at the act in which my mother and queen was assumed into heaven. How many wonders! How many enrapturing surprises of love! And my sweet Jesus, as if he felt the need to speak about his celestial mother, all festive told me, "My blessed daughter, today is the Feast of Assumption. This is the most beautiful, the most sublime, the greatest feast in which we remain glorified, loved, and honored the most. Heaven and earth are invested with an unusual joy never before felt. The angels and the saints feel as if invested with new joys and new happiness, and they all praise with new songs the sovereign queen, who in her empire rules over all, giving joy to all. Today is the Feast of Feasts, the unique one, the new one, which was never repeated again. Today, the day of the Assumption, celebrated for the first time the divine will operating in the sovereign Queen and Lady. The marvels are enchanting in each of her littlest acts, even in her breathing, in her motion. Many of our divine lives can be seen flowing in her act, as many kings, which more than bright suns inundate, surround, and embellish her, making her so beautiful as to form the enchantment of the celestial regions. Do you think it's nothing that each one of her breaths, motions, works, and pains were filled with many of our divine lives? This is exactly the great prodigy of my will operating in the creature, to form a divine life for each time it could enter the motion and the acts of the creature. Then, since my fiat possesses the virtue of bilocation and repetition, doing again and again, without ceasing everything it does, so the great lady feels these divine lives multiplied within herself, which do nothing other than further extend her seas of love, beauty, power, and infinite wisdom. You must know that the divine lives she possesses are so great and so many that upon entering heaven they crowded the whole celestial region, and being impossible to contain them, they filled the whole creation as well. Therefore there is no place where her seas of love and power do not flow, along with the many of our lives, of which she is possessor and queen. We can say that she dominates us, and that we dominate her. By clothing herself with our immensity, power, and love, she populated all our attributes with her acts, and with many of our divine lives that she had conquered. Therefore, from every place and everywhere, we feel ourselves being loved and glorified, inside and outside of ourselves, from within all created things, in the most remote hiding places, by this celestial creature, and by those same divine lives which are fiat formed in her. O power of our will, only you can do such prodigies as to make us loved and glorified as we deserve and want, to the extent of creating many of our lives in the one who lets you dominate. This is why she can give her God to all, because she possesses him. Even more when she sees a creature disposed to receive our will, without losing one of our divine lives, she has the virtue of reproducing, from within these divine lives which she possesses, yet another of our divine lives to give to whomever she wants. This Virgin Queen is a continuous prodigy. What she did on earth, she continues in heaven, because when the divine will operates, both in the creature and in ourselves, its acts never end, and while remaining in it, they can be given to all. Does the sun perhaps cease to give its light to the human generations because it has given too much of it? Not at all. Even if it has given much, it is always rich in its light, and does not lose a single drop of it. Therefore the glory of this queen is insuperable, because she possesses our operating will, which has the virtue of forming in the creature eternal and infinite acts. She loves us always and unceasingly with our lives that she possesses. She loves us with our own love. She loves us everywhere. Her love fills heaven and earth and runs to pour itself inside our divine womb. And we love her so much that we cannot live without loving her. While in loving us, she loves all, making everyone love us. How could we resist and not give her anything she wants? It is our own will that asks for what she wants, tying us with its eternal bonds so that we can refuse her nothing. This is why the feast of the Assumption is the most beautiful one. It is the feast of my will operating in this great lady, making her so rich and beautiful that the heavens cannot contain her. Even the angels remain speechless, and do not know how to describe what my will does in the creature. After this, while my mind remained stupefied in thinking about the great prodigies that the divine Fiat worked and continues to work in the celestial queen, my beloved Jesus added, "My daughter, her beauty is unreachable. It enchants, it charms, it conquers. Her love is such that she offers herself to all, loving all, leaving behind her seas of love. She can be called Queen of Love, winner of love, because she loved much, and through love she won her God. You must know that by doing his will, man broke the bonds with his Creator and with all created things. By the power of our Fiat, which she possessed, this heavenly queen tied her Creator to the creatures, tied all beings together, united them, put them back in order, and with her love gave new life to the human generations. Her love was so great as to cover and hide inside its seas weaknesses, evils, sins, the creatures themselves. Oh, if this Holy Virgin did not possess so much love, it would be difficult for us to look at the earth. Only her love makes us look at it, but we want to give our will to reign in the midst of creatures because she wants it so. She wants to give to her children what she possesses, and by love she shall win us and her children. Volume 36, December 8th, 1938. The Immaculate Conception and the New Birth of All. After this I was making my round in the acts of the divine volition. How many surprises in this will, so holy! And what is more, is that it awaits the creature in order to keep her aware of all its works, to let her know how much it loves her, and to give her what it does as gift. It fidgets to give without ceasing, and it is content with a little "I love you" from the creature in return. Then I arrived at the conception of my mother and queen. How many wonders! And my sweet Jesus continued, "My blessed daughter, today is the feast of the Immaculate Conception. It is the most beautiful feast, the greatest one for us, for heaven and for earth. In the act of creating this celestial creature from nothing, we made such prodigies and wonders that the heavens and the earth remained completely filled. We called everyone. Nobody was put aside, so that all could be reborn together with her. It was the new birth of everyone and everything. Our divine being overflowed so much that in the act of her conception, we put at her disposal seas of love, of sanctity, and light, with which she could love all, make saints of all, and give light to all. The celestial little one felt an innumerable population being reborn in her little heart. And what did our paternal goodness do? First, we donated her to ourselves, so that we could delight and court her, and she could delight and court us. Then we donated her to every creature. Oh, how much she loved us, and loved all, with such intensity and fullness that there is no point in which her love does not arise. The whole creation, the sun, the wind, the sea, are filled with the love of this holy creature, because they too felt reborn with her to new glory. They even had the great glory of possessing their queen, to the extent that when she prays to us for the good of her people with a love that we cannot resist, she says, "Adorable Majesty, remember that you offered me. I am yours, and I am theirs too. So by right you must grant what I ask." Volume 36, December 28, 1938. The Echo Between Creator and Creature. How one act in the divine will can be found everywhere. The King and the Army. The Maternity of the Queen of Heaven. Although my poor mind is under the nightmare of tormenting sufferings, to the extent of feeling as if I were dying, I do what I can to follow the acts of the Supreme Volition. I look for it, though with difficulty, as my refuge, to draw strength in this painful state in which I find myself. My beloved Jesus, feeling compassion for me, all tenderness told me, "Daughter of my will, courage, do not lose too much heart. Despondency makes you lose strength, and makes you feel as if the one who lives in you and loves you so much is far away from you. You must know that as the creature enters our will, to give her will and to take ours, she starts our divine echo in it. As we hear this echo in our divine being, we say, 'Who has so much virtue as to produce the echo of her love, of her breathing, and heartbeat in our Supreme Being?' Ah, it is a creature who has recognized our will and entered to live in it. Be welcome. We shall make her hear our echo in return, so that we'll breathe with one breath, love with one love, beat with one heartbeat. So we shall feel the life of that creature within us. We shall never feel lonely, and she too shall feel our life in her, the company of her Creator who never leaves her alone. You have to know that no act done in our will ever ends. Rather, it is continuously repeated, since my will is everywhere. That act is repeated in heaven, in created things, and in all else. Therefore, one act in my will surpasses everything, filling heaven and earth, and giving us so much love and glory that all other works remain like many little drops before the ocean. We glorify ourselves through the creature who, covered by her Creator, operates together with him. No matter how many beautiful things we may do outside of our will, they shall never please us, because they are not ours. They cannot be diffused everywhere. Such love is so small that it barely covers the act it made, if it covers it at all. You must know that, although we love the creature very much, we cannot tolerate having her with us, so indecent, filthy, without beauty, naked and covered with miserable rags. It would not be worthy of our Majesty to have children who do not look like us, or who are not somehow well dressed with the clothes of our Fiat. It would happen as to the king, whose army and subjects are covered with filth, disgusting just to look at. One is blind, one crippled, another deformed. Wouldn't it be a dishonor for this king to be surrounded by an army of pathetic wretches? Shouldn't this king be condemned if he doesn't bother to form an army worthy of himself? Shouldn't all remain in admiration, not only at the sight of the majesty of this king, but also at his ordered and beautiful army, the blooming of the young, and the way they are dressed? Would it not be an honor for the king to be surrounded by ministers and an army pleasing to his sight? Now, since we want to deal with the creature one-on-one, we have disposed in our invincible love and infinite wisdom to give her our will, so that she would be embellished with its light, clothed with its love, and sanctified with its sanctity. See then how necessary it is that our will reign in the creature. Only our will has the power to purify and embellish, so as to form our divine army. And we shall feel honored to live with them, and they with us. They shall be our children, surrounding us, dressed with our divine clothes, and embellished with our image. Therefore our will purifies, sanctifies, and embellishes first. Then it admits them into our will to live together with us. Furthermore, as the creature enters our will, our love is such that we shower her with our rain of love, and all run around her, seeing that we love her so much. The angels and the saints run to her to love her. The very creation joyfully exults in seeing our will triumphant in that creature. They all pour love on her, and oh, how beautiful she is, loved by all of us, and she feels so grateful for this love that she loves everyone in return. After this I continued making my round in the divine volition, and I arrived at the point of the birth of little Jesus, who was shivering for the cold, and wept and cried bitterly, with his eyes all swallowed in tears. He looked at me, asking for help, and between sobs and sighs he told me, "My good daughter, the lack of love of creatures makes me cry bitterly. As I see that I am not loved, I feel wounded, and the pain is so great that I burst into tears. My love runs over each creature, chasing her. It hides her while I replace her life with my life of love. But creatures, ungrateful, do not even say one 'I love you.' How could I not cry? Therefore love me and calm my tears. Now, my daughter, listen to me and pay attention. I want to tell you a great surprise of our love, and nothing must escape you. I want you to know the extent of the maternity of my celestial mother, what she did, how much it cost her, and what she is still doing. You must know that the great queen was not my mother only in conceiving me, delivering me to the light, feeding me with her milk, and offering me all the possible cares that I needed during my infancy. This was not enough, either to her maternal love or to my love as her son. Her maternal love was always running through my mind, and if sorrowful thoughts were troubling me, she laid her maternity in each one of them, hiding them inside her love and kissing them. I could always feel my mind as if it was hidden under her maternal wings, which never left me alone. Each one of my thoughts was kept by my loving mother, who gave me all her maternal attentions. Her maternity was placed in each one of my breaths and heartbeats, and if my breath and heartbeats felt smothered by my love and suffering, she would run with her maternity to free me from my suffocating love and put balm on my pierced heart. If she looked, spoke, worked, and walked, she ran as a mother to receive in her maternal love my glances, words, works, and steps, investing them with her love and hiding them in her heart. She would also make her maternal love flow in the food she prepared for me, so that while eating it, I could feel her loving maternity. How much more could I tell you of the expression of her maternity in my sufferings? There was not a pain, not a drop of the blood I shed, that was not felt by my mother. But after doing these things as my mother, she would then take all my pains and my blood and hide them inside her maternal heart to love them and continue her maternity. Who could say how much she loved me and how much I loved her? My love was such that in everything I could not be without feeling her maternity within me. I can say that she would run, never to leave me alone, not even in my breathing. And I called her. Her maternity was for me a need, a relief, a support for my life down here. Now, my daughter, listen to another love surprise of your Jesus and of our Heavenly Mother. In all we did, love was never obstructed between us. The love of one ran into the love of the other to form one single life. But in wanting to do the same with creatures, how many obstructions, rejections, ingratitudes do we find? You must know that as my inseparable mother laid her maternity inside and outside of my humanity, so she was made and confirmed as mother of every thought, every breath, every heartbeat and word of creatures, placing her maternity in their works, in their steps, and in all their sufferings. Her maternity runs everywhere. If creatures are in danger of falling into sin, she covers them with her maternity to prevent them from falling, and if they do, she leaves her maternity as help and defense to make them stand up again. Her maternity runs and lays also on the souls who want to be good and holy, as if she found her Jesus in them. She becomes mother of their intelligence and guide of their words, covering and hiding them in her maternal love, in order to grow as many other Jesuses. Her maternity shows on the beds of the dying. Using the rights of authority as mother given to her by me, in such a tender tone that I cannot refuse her anything, she says, "My son, I am the mother, and they are my children. I must save them. If you do not grant me this, my maternity would be compromised." And as she says this, she covers them with her love, hiding them within her maternity to rescue them. My love was such that I told her, "Mother, I want you to be the mother of all, and I want you to do for all creatures all that you have done for me, laying your maternity in all their acts, so that I shall see them covered and hidden in your maternal love." My mother accepted and remained confirmed, not only as the mother of all, but also as the one who would invest each of their acts with her maternal love. This was one of the greatest graces I have given to the whole of the human generations. But what pains does my mother not receive? Creatures even reach the point of not wanting to recognize her maternity, of denying it. Therefore the whole of heaven prays and anxiously waits for the divine will to be known and to reign, Then the great Queen shall do to the children of my will what she did for her Jesus, and her maternity shall have life in her children. I shall give my own place in her maternal heart to those who live in my will. She shall raise them for me, guiding their steps and hiding them in her maternity and sanctity. Her maternal love and her sanctity shall be impressed in all their acts. They shall be her true children, being like me in everything. Oh, how I would love everyone to know that if they want to live in my will, they have a queen and a powerful mother who shall compensate for all they lack. She shall raise them on her maternal lap, being with them in everything they do, molding their acts as her own, to the extent that they shall be known as the children grown, kept, and educated by the loving maternity of my mamma. These shall be the ones who shall make her happy, the ones who shall be her glory and honor. You have reached the end of the Prodigies of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Volume 36. Fiat.